Following the release of their album Rumble on Columbia Records, Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers have risen from Philadelphia stardom to the national spotlight. However, the rise to the top has not been an easy one for the hard rockin' band. Their leader and founder, Tommy Conwell, took time out to talk with WEHR about the band's past, present, and future. WEHR proudly presents a rock celebrity spotlight on Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers. Conwell developed his talents and cultured his love for blues at the University of Delaware. Playing with the band Rock 88 was a monumental step for him.
I developed my blues chops at Delaware, definitely. That's where I learned about blues music in the first place, because that's where I was. Because I was kind of forced to get into some kind of music other than jazz, which was what I was into, because there was no jazz in Delaware. So I was like kind of depressed about that for a while. But then I discovered that there was some blues, and there were like some blues people who knew about blues I could hang out with. And I learned about the Fabulous Thunderbirds and Slim Harpo, and just got into that.
Conwell continued on, talking about some of the other blues artists who have influenced him over the years.
Let's see, who else? Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Lazy Lester, who else? These were like, when I was with Rocket 88, when I first started with them, Mark, the singer, Mark Keneally, he made me a bunch of tapes, just assorted blues people, and I just devoured those tapes. So whoever was on them, it was like Magic Sam and Little Walter, definitely, okay. and Chuck Berry too, who's not exactly blues, but I always kind of put him in with blues, because to me he was just blues with a rock beat.
After gaining some experience and confidence, Conwell broke out on his own and formed the Rumblers.
Formed the group with some other guys. None of these guys are the original members. Really, the way I started it was, it's not like we were a bunch of young kids sitting around in someone's basement saying, "Hey, let's start a band." I more or less hired my guys. I more or less like made my own concept and did it myself. I had been in a lot of bands, and I had been in other bands that had leaders, so I realized the quality or the value of having a leader in a band. It makes everything a lot easier for everybody sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes, and it did for us.
After forming his band, Conwell and the Rumblers landed their first gig at the University of Delaware in 1984.
It was, our first couple gigs were at the University of Delaware, where I had been a student, and then I had quit to play, to gig with this band Rocket 88, because we were playing like 5 or 6 nights a week, so I kind of had to quit college,
Right.
And so then when I stopped playing with Rocket 88, I started my own band, and I played at the University of Delaware. They had like a big party, that was. I had friends on the Student Programming Association, so the people who ran the concerts were my buddies. So they were having this. They were really cool. They were just having this party. They called it the Skid Row Beach Party, and they they were just having like 4 bands. So they let us be one of them when we were that was our first gig, February 24th, 1984.
Over the past 5 years, many changes have occurred within the band. Conwell progressed from 3 to 5 members in late 1986 before the Rumblers' release of Walking on the Water. During the interview, Conwell took time out to discuss the reasons behind the changes.
I picked them up in Philadelphia. One of them, Rob Miller, wasn't really doing anything at the time, but he's been around for a while. We know him. And Chris Day was playing with a group called the John Alexander Band. The reason I did it is just because musically, I was ready to have more than a 3-piece band. It's hard to write for a 3-piece band. Well, it's easy to write for a while for a 3-piece band, but it just, after a while, I felt like, okay, I don't want to play straight blues anymore. I don't want to be limited by it anymore, But hey, there's limitations to anything. Now I'm limited by a 5-piece band, because now I got 5 guys for it.
Walking on the Water was a regional release and featured 4 songs on the current LP. I'm Not Your Man, Everything They Say Is True, Love's on Fire, and the title track all first appeared on Walkin' on the Water. In addition, the 70,000 copy seller included hard-hitting cuts like I'm Home and Here I Come. The album brought much local support to the band and featured the joining of two diverse styles of music.
When I first started the band, what I really wanted to do was be marry punk and blues, you know.
Right.
I mean, and stressing more on the blues angle. I mean, I wanted to be like a rowdy band who could actually play.
However, Conwell now has a more mature outlook on life and finds punk music and idolizing behind him.
I'm not 18 anymore, and I was a punk rocker when I was 18, you know, and some things, you know, I gotta be honest, you know, and, you know, I don't have the same, naive outlook that I had then, and, so, whatever, but, basically we're the same band we've always been, you know, I just don't see myself as, you know, Johnny Rotten. But the thing is, I don't see myself as anyone except myself anymore.
Conwell and the Rumblers have taken what they learned from Walking on the Water and used it to progress on to Rumble.
Definitely some good things about putting out that independent record first, because just as you said, it's a stepping stone, and it allowed us to experience the album making process on a smaller level before we did go worldwide. So, you know, that's a positive thing.
The maturation of Conwell and the band shows through in Rumble, especially in the many different musical styles used. From the pop in Half a Heart to the gospel in Gonna Break Down, and the soul in I Wanna Make You Happy, to the rap beginning I'm Not Your Man, the variations show a band that is willing to take a chance and walk the critics' plank. So far, those chances are paying high dividends as Conwell has been streaking up the charts and across the country promoting his album. Taking a break from the interview segment, WEHR Rock Celebrity Spotlight is going to take a look at the album Rumble, focusing on the diversity of sound it contains. The opening cut and first single release, I'm Not Your Man, starts off with a snappy rapping segment and fades into a more pop tone. After I'm Not Your Man, Half a Heart continues the pop sound. Rob Hyman and Eric Bazillion of the Hooters co-wrote Half a Heart with Conwell and album producer Rick Chertoff. The LP's follow-up Top 40 single, If We Never Meet Again, was written by veteran songwriter Jules Shear. Jules Shear is currently the leader of the band Reckless Sleepers from Philadelphia. The remix version of Love's on Fire follows the band's second single, If We Never Meet Again. This version is a little more techno-jazzed according to Conwell, with more synthesizer and less of the raw sound than the original. Ending side 1 is Workout, a quick rockin' tune that makes you want to get up and move. Vaguely reminiscent to A Million Pretty Girls on the first album, Workout is featured as the B-side to the 45, I'm Not Your Man. On side 2, Conwell and the Rumblers take a chance with the soul-grooving song I Wanna Make You Happy. The song brings the band a step closer to crossing yet another musical horizon. Towards the end of the song, Conwell utilizes a soul blues screaming voice, the kind made famous by James Brown, showing us what he can do vocally.
I wanna be the sun, tell the world just when I'm gonna shine. I wanna make you happy, baby. Say it again, I wanna make you happy right now.
And everything they say is true. Conwell and the Rumblers plug the guitar through an accordion amp to produce a different sound for the song. Everything They Say Is True is an easy rockin' cut, displaying the Rumblers' creative instincts and abilities. Rumble features a cut entitled Gonna Break Down that the Philadelphia Inquirer called gutsy and full of knowledge. In Gonna Break Down, Conwell exhibits the gift of making the guitar follow his words, in a sense, making it speak. Conwell opens the song singing softly and strumming his guitar lightly. The song progresses onward to more inspired singing and guitar playing until Conwell lets the guitar echo his words. Tell Me What You Want Me to Be is a song also written by Jules Shear, featured on the B-side of the album. Ending the album is Walking on the Water, the title track to the Rumblers' first LP. Walking on the Water is full of the live sound Conwell and the Rumblers display in concert. This song was written solely by Conwell. Rumble does feature Conwell as one of rock's premier guitarists and songwriters. Conwell has started collaborating on songwriting since his debut of Walking on the Water. He finds both writing with people and by himself to have advantages.
The first song I really collaborated upon was I'm Not Your Man, which was a couple years ago, you know. So that was an interesting turn in my songwriting because, I mean, I always used to write by myself, and then to start collaborating was kind of hard, but I found a cool person to start doing it with, which is Marcy Rauer, who I wrote I'm Not Your Man with, and she's really good. And she, you know, so we hung out a lot.
Cool.
I'm happy with it, but I'll tell you, since we've been touring, I've been alone, I've been writing alone, and I'm getting some pretty good stuff alone, so maybe there'll be some more stuff that I've written alone on the next album.
Conwell's main interest in writing does not lie in providing music with heavy moral or political overtones. Instead, he wants to produce music for the people to listen to.
I'm not a big fan of music that tries to get too deep. You know, whatever message is whatever messages there are day to day. You know, some things are important, some things aren't, some things are fun, some things are sad, whatever.
Conwell said Rumble contained very little blues because he didn't want the image of a blues band. Now that they are not being typified as such, Conwell hopes to continue with the same types of music and include some blues in the next album.
I think the next release is really going to be the same old stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, I mean that in a good way. I mean,
right.
I just mean that, you know, we're just going to continue being what we are, you know, and I guess it'll be a little different, and I would like to have a little bit more blues on the next album, and I might have some more, like, gospel-inspired stuff on it, and, I mean, similar to Breakdown. And
Rumble features a bit of the live sound and excitement Conwell and the Rumblers spark in concert. A strong, upbeat personality, charisma, and flair highlight explosive rock and roll on-stage performances at Conwell's shows. Conwell spoke of the type of image he wants to present on stage.
I want to be rowdy, you know. I want to make the show a celebration, you know. That's the way I want it to be. And even if some nights I don't feel like it, I know the bottom line in my overall outlook on life, that's the way I want it to be. You know what I mean? So if I feel kind of mellow or kind of tired, and I get up there and force myself to, you know, kick myself in the butt and jump around and have some fun, that's because when I get on stage, that's what I want to do, you know?
Conwell's wild and uninhibited yet creative brand of rock and roll and performance may have been the reason Conwell was so successful on his recent U.S. club tour. From Los Angeles to St. Louis, Seattle to Texas, Conwell won crowds over, bringing the hometown confidence along.
most of the places, it was their first time seeing us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different than the hometown feel, but it's also good in its own right because, it's like everything you do, they've never seen you before. So like your jokes are funny again, and like, all the weird stuff that I do, it has impact, a fresh impact. So it's kind of really good in that way,
Conwell feels his appearance on David Letterman in early January and the band's spot on the American Music Awards helped increase turnouts later in the tour.
It was a lot of fun. We had a ball doing it, and it really helped our turnouts too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had a big impact.
Conwell and the Young Rumblers opened 7 times for Rocktown in Chicago in early February and recently returned from Europe. Stops in Norway, Germany, London, and Amsterdam were all very successful according to Tommy Conwell's tour manager Patty Rose. Upon returning from 1.5 weeks abroad, Conwell and the Young Rumblers began work on their second national release. Continue to listen for Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers as their style of music and performance mark a new beginning for today's rock and roll to follow and tomorrow's bands to imitate. Tommy Conwell and the Young Rumblers are the hot new band with an aura of excitement that can't be matched. This has been Andy Grider with the WEHR Rock Celebrity Spotlight. Remember, folks, you can catch Tommy Conwell live at the Sybarish Regatta Sunday at Bald Eagle State Park. See you there. This has been a WEHR production.